Come out of Babylon, confusion, come out of darkness into light, come out of the ignorance into understanding, to not reject the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, no matter how sombering it is, how sobering it is, okay? You've got to accept it. You've got to say, yes, this is a battle between good and evil. And I want to make damn sure that I'm not inadvertently supporting evil, that I'm not deceived. And it's easy to happen. Anyone could be deceived. I believe we're all born masters of self-deceit. So get on the right side of this thing, folks, everybody. Let's see. I talked about UFOs a little bit last. I was talking about fallen angels and holy angels and the common theme being that they can both fly. But I forgot to mention the possibility of visitors, maybe like tourists or maybe scientists from other planets in our galaxy. I mean, who knows? It could be intergalactic stuff, interrealm stuff, dimensional stuff. There's just so much going on, okay, that there, like Shakespeare wrote, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than exist in your imagination. So it's been documented. People have seen things flying through the sky, apparently, craft of some sort, for millennia, thousands of years, ever since the beginning of recorded history. This crap's been going on. So people that say it's far out and all this crap, they don't know. Yes, governments suppress stuff all the time. All the frickin' time, yes. Authorities, all they have to do really is muddy the waters, confuse people, keep them ignorant, so they're off balance. They lack the confidence to speak boldly about these issues. But if you investigate it for yourself, you'll be able to speak boldly about it and know that it's true. Yes, there's other beings. So what? Get over yourself. Get over it. Humans aren't the end all of creation. God enjoys creating. So anyhow, about not being involved in foreign entanglements. I remember I heard that somewhere, and it was from George Washington, right, on his farewell address, right? Just a quick comment on the Venus Williams accident. I looked at the video, and Venus Williams, I believe 99.99% of car accidents are avoidable. But it looks to me like the car that hit her was going way too fast. I think if that was a city driving, I mean, they should have seen it. They were distracted or something. They should have at least slowed down and slammed their brakes on or something. I mean, I've stopped a hell of a fast when people do stupid things in front of me. So I don't think Venus Williams is 100% after watching the video at fault for that. So, it's about right away and all that stuff, and I understand. But if somebody pulled in behind her and she couldn't even back out of it, I don't know. Maybe she should have just really hauled butt, and got out there. I don't know, when she could see they weren't slowing down. I don't know what the answer to that was, but it's messed up. Like I said, 99.9% of accidents, I believe, are preventable. But once in a while, things happen like they say. In this case, though, somebody wasn't paying attention, or else they would have slammed their brakes on a lot sooner before they hit her SUV. That's enough on that. Let's see. My stand on immigration. I want to expand on it. My stand on immigration, because the last thing I want is anybody to think I lack compassion. Look, once America gets our own act together and we end extreme desperate poverty in America and all the associated problems, I welcome the entire planet to move to America. I just want to put that out there. In fact, you can all move to California, okay? As far as I'm concerned, there's plenty of room in California to fit all 7+ billion people, okay? So let's make that very clear. That's the guy I choose to be, so that's the guy I am. I'm a nice guy. I want to be as nice a guy as I can possibly be. And, I think people need to be free to live wherever they want in the world, and that includes the states. But we've got to get our own act together. And don't tell me, I resent the implication of somebody telling me I lack compassion and get all sanctimonious about it. That's a lot. Listening to me, I've been a homeless advocate from as far back as I can remember. Big advocate of Martin Luther King Jr. And where is the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. today? It's absent. It's sickening. I talked about how I don't hate the elite, but I hate elitism. That's not hypocritical or inconsistent. I mean, look at the Prince Harry and his brother William. A couple of nice guys. Their mother, where'd they learn it from? I mean, their pop, I can't say too much about him. I have heard some unbecoming things about him. The whole Dracula thing in Transylvania and the blood drinking. I don't know. I've heard some rumors about some of the royalty at least being involved in pedophilia and all this. So, I don't know. But all I know is those guys seem like a couple of nice guys. And, So you don't have to be an a-hole to be elite, to be uber wealthy. Okay. I think their mother would be proud to call these guys her son. And I think I misspoke last time I was talking about. I said something about cocaine being natural. I meant unnatural. Cocaine is unnatural. It's made from the coca. Coca is natural, and that derivative. But there's chemicalized. Same with meth. It's all chemicalized, and it's just crap. It's adulterated. It's nothing that God gave to the earth. The same with heroin and all its derivatives, unnatural, artificial derivatives. Okay, fentanyl and all that crap. The opium. But the plant itself, the poppy plant, is innocuous enough. But when they start screwing around and chemicalizing things, then that's where you got a problem. And alcohol, the same thing. I mean, they screw around with alcohol. It doesn't occur naturally, generally speaking. Maybe in a very rare instance, but it'd be nothing you'd probably want to drink anyhow when it occurred like that. Tobacco's natural. Cannabis is natural. Coca is natural. Coffee is natural. Opium is natural, or at least the poppy plant is. I don't know about opium too much. I think a lot of that stuff is very dangerous implications. But the best high, as I've always said my whole life, is a natural high. I believe that. I believe God gave us all the drugs we need in our body, all the feel-good, blissful drugs, the euphoria-inducing drugs are already in our body. So I don't believe in any of them. But the point I was trying to make was that. Just to try to differentiate between what's natural and what's not, so that people aren't confused on that particular issue. Oh, and smoking, I don't encourage anyone to smoke. It might sound like that, but to me, it's not. It's not the worst possible thing that you could do. It's not a forbidden sin. Okay, I don't even know if it's a sin. Okay, because if your intention is not to harm your body, okay, and smokers all the time outlive non-smokers. You've got to exert some semblance, some modicum of self-control. And look at eating disorders. Look at all the problems caused from that, all the health problems, all the obesity out there. I mean, most of the women you walk in the grocery, they're all unhealthy and overweight looking. They don't look, I don't want to hook up with them. If a woman my age is healthy, she's attractive. But a lot of it's dietary, and we're not taught this stuff. But it reminds me of the passage in Scripture where Jesus is talking about these hypocrites and how, they strain out a gnat, right? But they swallow a camel. Yeah, that's what it's like to me. No ads warning people the dangers of high fructose corn syrup or aspartame. It's perfectly fine that they chemically lobotomize our children with the fluoride in the water and vaccinations and all this crap. I'm not just blanketly not all vaccinations, but we know some are very dangerous. No, all this is just perfectly fine. We don't need these people to pay for ads. It's warning people about how dangerous they are. They've had to warn people these prescription drugs, though, because they're killing people and they're damaging people worse than the diseases they had. So they're having to warn people. That's my beef, though, with the smoking. Pure and simple. It's just that, to me, it is not the worst thing that, it's not sacrilege, okay? That's the only point I want to make. But I'm not encouraging anybody to smoke. Why would you want to smoke if you don't feel like smoking? Okay, it's nothing. Why pick up an addiction that you don't have? Or whatever you want to call it, a habit, okay? But we've all got our own vices and excuses for having those vices, weaknesses, and failings. So it's just something we all have to deal with. So the deep state is trying to rout Trump with a kind of a clandestine, surreptitious coup. This whole thing with the former FBI director, this Mueller guy. Yeah, this thing stinks to high heavens. They've got Kushner under a microscope for his financial dealings with foreign agencies. It's all kind of it's just a diversion, a distraction. It's something that this division. It's all part of just keeping us divided and at each other's throats. And so it's just to keep enmity between the political governmental forces, the leadership, and all this crap, so that the people can be divided and feel self-righteous about that division. And it's very sick and twisted. But like I said, if Trump succeeds at making America a better place to live in, a more livable place, it was by the hand of God. So just remember that. Sanctions against Russia is pretty stupid. That's kind of a trade war in reverse, right? I couldn't believe the overwhelming support shown in the House and Senate for this thing. It's disgusting. Locally here in Yuba County, just county south of here, a couple of cops were shot. They expected to make a full recovery, but the suspect was shot dead. Can you imagine taking pot shots at cops just, because you're criminal, desperate for money? I had an idea recently that, all this cyber coin, or what do they call it, the cryptocurrency, the success of Bitcoin, making some people tens of 1,000% increase on their initial investment. But I thought of this idea of starting a coin called Tithe Coin. And you heard it here first, but if anybody wants to get on board with that, start it up, just spread the word, this is what they call mining, but get support for this idea. The idea behind it is just that your profit can only increase 10% annually, and any proceeds beyond that you can give to the charity of your choice. So it's a godly kind of a coin, cyber coin, cryptocurrency. But it might be a good thing, temporarily, because I'm looking forward to a day when none of us have any need for money at all. That's a state of affairs I'm looking forward to. So Paul Joseph Watson was on with Alex Jones, and Alex made the comment. He says, "You know what? We're the real leftists now." And you know what? Now that's a point that I can sink my teeth into. And it came out of nowhere, but it's a beautiful thing. He's right. I mean, who are the real leftists? Are those that are the libertarians. They're the most pro-free speech, the most pro-freedom. Okay? So it's true that people now that are called conservatives are really more the leftists. That's the new leftist is the conservative. So, I mean, it's topsy-turvy, but this is how things have happened historically, over and over. He showed a hint of equivocation, though, when he said it. I did want to point that out, but that's only because of his training, We bandy words about, but do we ever stop and define them? People have a conversation, they throw a word out there, but they don't bother to define it. Let's hear, what's your definition? What are we talking about exactly here? But I don't hear very many people doing that. So how do you have a meeting of the minds? How do you have a productive, effective conversation? If you've got one idea in mind when we talk about government, and I've got another idea, whatever the word may be, freedom. There's so many words. Politics, politicians. I mean, what are we talking about here? What is supply and demand? Explain that. What do you mean by that? How does that work? How do you define progress relative to supply and demand in our economy? What's supposed to happen? What happens to the worth of our currency? Do we need to keep making more money and just try to understand that inflation is necessary? It's just part of our reality? Or can we really focus on increasing the worth of our currency through deflation, through deflating your cost of living, decreasing your cost of living? Yes, we can do that. That's what needs to be done. But again, that's the antithesis of what the establishment wants. Recently I was wondering if the days would grow longer as the earth was growing, because there's some 60 metric tons of cosmic dust falling on the earth. So the earth is expanding every day. And I thought, well, if the earth gets bigger, does that mean it's going to take longer for it to make a full rotation? So more than 24 hours. And indeed it will. And it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's science. But that's the kind of thing you got to use your own imagination to even bother to look it up and find out the facts. Because I don't hear anybody out there, and I have, I got a nephew that's into science, physics, and engineering, and it's something